It may be a beautiful sight, but it's one that will be much rarer in the south of Scotland. The council here in the Borders have banned the release of lanterns and helium balloons on their land. But does everyone agree with the move?
I think they definitely need to be removed from the market along with fireworks and anything else that causes environmental damage to wildlife. It's a no-brainer, really.
But I can understand it means a lot to people because it's sort of for sentimental value that they do these things.
I think it's probably a good thing.
What do you think should be banned?
I think people should have more common sense. Knowing what they do is not to let them off. I wouldn't.
Certainly should be curtailed, but whether they do it through talking to people first or negotiating what should be done, I think there's too many things that's just a straight ban on things without really discussing it with those that are concerned. So
They injure animals, so I think that's reasonable to ban them because poor things, they don't know what they are until they eat them, do they?
The council made the call last week to protect both wild and domesticated animals.
It's very beautiful. We all love the helium balloons. We all love seeing these lanterns going up into the sky. But the effect is when they come down and they have catastrophic impacts on wild animals, agricultural animals, domesticated animals. And when they're ingested, they penetrate the intestine. They cause horrific injuries, often fatal.
It's after a campaign by an animal welfare charity who are pressuring every council in Scotland to do the same, warning the full extent of the harm is unknown.
We don't really make any efforts to record wildlife that is hurt, injured or worse as a result of sky lanterns and many other things, frankly, nor do we do that with farmed animals. You might get the odd vet who would record something if a companion animal kept in a domestic setting was to be hurt or injured. But other than that, we're miles away from knowing the true extent of the damage sky lanterns and helium balloons cause, and indeed fireworks, in terms of animal life.
It's a decision that's been welcomed by farmers like James, who has in the past had to chase down his livestock after spotting them chewing on an old balloon that landed in their field.
The human being is a very dirty animal. These animals, they see something, it's different, they smell it, or they look at it first, then they smell it, and then they test it with their tongues, and in a lot of cases, they'll try and consume it. Now, if it goes into the stomach, it doesn't come out. And as I say, indigestible, it can cause blockages, it can cause damage. There is an issue. And that's in domestic animals that we know about. What we don't know about is all the wildlife that's going around. And they'll be just as inquisitive, hunting and looking for food.
It's all very well banning their release, but how can the council enforce this?
There isn't legislation in the United Kingdom or the Scottish Government in the Scottish Parliament yet covering this particular area. So how you enforce it is a whole other matter. But I think what we do is we raise its profile and make sure that people are aware of the impacts that it has. And I think Britain is renowned for being a very animal-friendly place. And I think if we send out motions like this, then we're sending a positive message and people will adhere to that.
And everything in moderation. The charity insists they're not trying to ruin people's fun.
Can quite often be thought of as being killjoys, and we're not. In terms of helium balloons, it's the mass release that we are focused on. The example you raised, we've got no issue if for some child's 8th birthday they've got a collection of helium balloons in their living room. That's not a problem. That's not a risk. It's when you see a net holding hundreds of them to be released in celebration of whatever. That's where we step in to say that the risks and the possible harms outweigh anything that you get back in return.
It's a move that's difficult to enforce, but one that sends a clear message about protecting the animals and the land around us. Isla Todd, ITV News.